And welcome to Counsel of the Day with Shanrae. And I am Shanrae. And I'm on my second quarter of 2023. So for the entire month of May, on Sunday and Monday evenings at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for 30 minutes, I'm going to come to you live with with my topic for this month, which is I'm sorry, and I've been running y'all all day long, and so I'm just so elated to be here, guys. But my topic for the month, and then of course I have subtopics, is desperation versus lifestyle. So we're going to go on and get started because this 30 minutes come and go very, very quickly. Again, I am Shanrae, and welcome to Counsel of the Day with Shanrae. I'm a degreed counselor. I acquired my degrees from Ashford University. So let me start out with my website disclaimer, and we're going to move this along. The first week is always where I am actually breaking down the topic, and then we're going to move on to our subtopics, and we're going to delve in. So my website disclaimer says, please be aware that due to the nature of the technology that I'm using, that there can be no assurance of confidentiality when using this online service. Should also be noted that due to changes in policies, that all replies are to be used as advisory and informational only and will not constitute an official determination. Information provided by myself are subject to the limitations of current and available material, but the final responsibility for successfully achieving a goal rests with you, the individual. Information online is designed to be helpful, but however, this information does change frequently, and it is recommended that you, the individual, will consult another physician, another specialist, and or religious leader to aid you in your overall wellness. I have to say this because I just thought about it. So next Sunday is Mother's Day. So I'm not going to come on Mother's Day. I'm probably going to do Monday and Tuesday. For the next 2 weeks, I'm going to do Monday and Tuesday because Mother's Day is next week, and we're all mothers, we're celebrating. Well, we're going to be celebrating our moms that's in our families. So I'm going to come on probably next Monday and next Tuesday. Then the following weekend, I'm going to be out of town. So I'm going to come back on that Monday and Tuesday. And then I will probably at the end of the month, I don't know, I might keep it on Monday and Tuesday because there's so many events. We have graduations and everything that's going on. So I will keep you abreast of everything. All right. So again, as I stated earlier, I'm a degree counselor. I'm going to open this up. I did acquire my degrees from Ashford University. Let me open this a little bit. All right. So my bio, I'm a degree counselor. I acquired 2 degrees, one in organizational management, but my main one is in psychology. My great passion is bringing healing to people who have been through a traumatic or stressful experience. So we all know that when people experience trauma or severe life stressors, it is not uncommon for their lives to seem like it is unraveling. And so I help clients who include children, adults, and families to find healthy perceptions of themselves and to help them strengthen their relationships so that they can know themselves as peaceful, complete, whole, and safe. All right, so let's move this on. 30 minutes is going to come and go so fast. I am a Christian counselor. I'm going to open this. So my scripture for the month is Luke 12:48. And it says, but someone who does not know and then does something wrong will be punished only lightly. When someone has been given much, much will be required in return. And when someone has been entrusted with much, even more will be required. So the King James version of this says, to whom much is given, much is required. All right, so let's define desperation. I'm going to open this a little bit and close it back. Desperation, the definition that I chose says, it is a state of despair, typically one which results in rash or extreme behavior. So that's desperation. All right, so let's go into our key points, and then I'm going to be kind of brief tonight. So I'm going to open this once again. Let's open it. Okay, and let me close it. So I'm going to be talking about what is the root cause of desperation, what are the signs of desperation, Desperate times call for desperate measures. Where desperation leads to, take the takeaway and the quote. All right, so what is the root cause of desperation? And let me move this on so y'all can see this. What is the root cause of desperation? All right, I have here desperation, in fact, comes from a word called despair, which means a lack of hope. And so giving up on our hopes leads us to experience a quality of disconnection and meaninglessness that is far more frightening than any other painful experience that we might go through. My pastor spoke about today. He spoke about sometimes the things that we practice or the things that we continue to do, that a lot of time aids in a life of uncomfortability. And so it's about retraining our brains, reframing, rethinking our mindsets. Because again, our foundation does come, it has a lot to do with how we do things and how we think about things as we become adults. And so when we become adults, we have to learn how to find what works best for us and in our families that we have, and what works for our lifestyles, which is retraining our brain, reframing, and those type of things. So what are signs of desperation? Let me move this along. What are some signs of desperation? Let me open this up a little bit. All right. What are some signs of desperation? Okay. And here we're going to be talking about 5 different signs of desperation. Number 1 is a constant availability. It's really weird to hear that, but a constant availability is a sign of desperation. For instance, when we think about desperation, a lot of the times we think about someone in a relationship, in kind of a toxic relationship, and you hear people say, oh, they're so desperate. Again, that constant availability. Even with family situations, how some people will do anything to be a part of a family or be a part of makeshift family, want to get in there and they'll just make themselves available for anything. So that's the one thing, constant availability. Number 2 is compromising your integrity and principles. That's the second form of being desperate. You can tell that you're desperate. Compromising your integrity and your principles. Number 3 is being too agreeable, wanting to please too many people. That's another sign of desperation. Number 4 is a need for compliments and reassurance. We see this all the time on social media. Oh, but you didn't like it though. A constant need, okay, for compliments and reassurance. That's another sign of desperation. Okay. And number 5 is getting too close for comfort. Okay. Once again, putting yourself in maybe a toxic environment, a toxic situation, something that you know is not favorable for you or your lifestyle. Again, but again, you do it because you want to be accepted. That is, again, another sign of desperation. So let me run that down again. The 5 different signs of being desperate. Number 1 is being too available, constant availability. Number 2, compromising your integrity and principles. Okay. Number 3, being too agreeable, wanting to please too many people. Number 4 is a need for compliments and reassurance. Number 5 is getting too close for comfort. Now, why do people become desperate? Okay. And this may seem kind of like A and B, but okay, let's break it down anyway. Why do people become desperate? All right. I'm going to open this up just a little bit and let me close it back. So in many ways, this is an understandable response, right? We feel a lot of people become desperate because they feel alone. They feel insecure or vulnerable. And being with other people, others feel it makes them feel less insecure, less alone, less vulnerable. This is why a lot of people become in a desperate state. So this urge towards relatedness fulfills not just our needs for protection and security, but also for purpose and direction in life. Okay, so now let's talk about what are the characteristics of a desperate person, because there are characteristics for a desperate type of person. Let me open this up a little bit. What are the characteristics of a desperate person? And this is an open platform, so you all are more than welcome to ask questions or share any type of life scenarios. If you choose to, I will pause and I will acknowledge it. All right. So, what are the characteristics of a desperate person? It says some of the classic signs that a person is desperate may include perpetual availability. Again, that was the first thing we talked about before. Not respecting your own space. Okay. Um, you know how you hear people say, oh, they're so needy. Neediness, that's another characteristic of a desperate person. And of course, the first and foremost thing is low self-esteem. So being clingy or too needy can also be a sign. And someone can be your boyfriend or your girlfriend already and still display these signs and these signals of neediness, low self-esteem, perpetual availability, and again, not respecting your space. Okay, these are some characteristics of being a desperate type of person. Now, if y'all hanging here with me this month, I have to get the basics out of the way. But the main thing is, if we know a lot of people that are like that, all of us have some form of some type of desperation too. So just to recognize this is why I'm talking about this month, and how maybe we can break this, overcome this, understand ourselves. That's my main thing. Understand ourselves better so we can live a happier, healthier life. Again, this is an open platform. If you have any questions or you have any life scenarios, please you can go on this, and I will pause and I will give a highlight to your question. All right. So let's talk about desperate times call for a desperate measure, which is validating a measure of state of desperation. Now we're going to get more into the clinical part of it. And it's maybe a little bit boring, but I'm going to try to make it as not as boring as possible. Desperate times call for desperate measures. All right, here we go. So arguably, one's feeling of desperation is important. And let me get back to this. This here is by Dr. C. Evan Hannon and Drs. Jana Hackathorn. Okay, and they're both clinical psychologists. All right, and so they're the ones that's unpacking these theories right here. All right, so it says arguably one's feelings of desperation is important in decision making. That's another reason why I wanted to talk about this on this topic on this month. It's hard to make a logical decision for you or for others if you're in a desperate state of mind. So it's important in decision making, especially in a high stress situation. However, this is an assumption. This is what the doctors are saying. So as there is no measure of desperation outside of being symptomology for other health-related constructs, such as depression. Okay, and desperation and depression are two different, they're very close. They're very close in this on the spectrum. All right. So through a series of studies, Drs. Hannon and Drs. Hackathorn created a validated a measure of state desperation. So, which means that they did a desperation scale. Exploratory and confirmatory factor analysis suggests that the state desperation scale contains two components that encompasses both emotional and motivational aspects. All right, so in their first study, okay, and this is again Dr. Hannon and Dr. Hackathorn. So in their first studies, they showed that the scores on the measure positively correlate with other negative state-based constructs, such as stress. We know that desperation, it comes hand in hand with stress, anxiety, low self-esteem, and coping strategies, and negatively correlate with positive effects. So it's really no positive things that come out of being having low self-esteem, having anxiety, stress, and different things like that, which presents poor coping skills, So finally, and during their experimentals of their study, they manipulated desperation to show that it is a state-based. It's something that is state-based. but also distinct from stress or anxiety. So analysis indicate the measure is reliable. I'm talking a lot of, psychological things but we're going to break it down in a minute. Content valid and provides evidence of convergent and discriminative validity. So they concluded that the state desperation scale adequately measures the emotional and motivational components of desperation. Now, let me show this to you, what they're talking about. And I'm going to keep this open for a little bit so you can see it. So this is the scale that that doctors Hannon and Hawthorne both were talking about. So if you can see this, motivation, and then they graded it, they gave it a numerical order: 2.89, 3.29, 302. So motivation is I need to act / I need to do something. Motivation, urgent to act, an urgency to do something. Motivation number 3, I have to act quickly. Okay, and this is all out of desperation. And motivation number 4, frantic to act and frantic to do something. Now, the emotional part of desperation is number 1. They've concluded most people feel hopeless. It says I feel hopeless. I have no control is number 2. I need help is number 3. Number 4 is I feel alone. And number 5 is I feel desperate at this moment. That's the emotional aspect of desperation. Okay. Now, those emotions again lead back to that motivation. When you're saying I feel hopeless, your motivation number 1 is I need to act or I need to do something. On the emotion side, I have no control. The motivation is number 2 is I'm urgent to act. I'm urgent to do something. Number 3, I need help. That's the emotion side of it. So you're saying I need help. The motivation part is I have to act quickly. Okay. And then number 4 says I feel alone. Most people who are desperate do feel alone. Again, and we're going to leave that at I have to act quickly with the motivational part of it. And then the 5th one, 1, 2, 3, 4. The 5th one on the emotion side is I feel desperate at this moment. Number 4 for the motivation side is I feel you have a frantic. So you frantically acting or you frantically doing something, which then again leads you right back to I'm not making the right decision or I can't. Most desperate people never ever make proper choices because they're acting out of desperation. We've all been there. We've all have done that. If something like an accident happened or you get a phone call or something unusual happens. For instance, like if you're traveling and you find out that you've lost your phone, your cell phone. Most people are acting irrationally or you're acting, you can't think rationally because you're in a desperate state. Most of us are so used to our cell phones till we don't remember telephone numbers offhand. How many people can go find a payphone now in order to make a phone call and, do stuff? So a desperation, it almost always leads to an act of a logical action. All right, so let's open this up and let's move this along. It says, what is the intense feelings of desperation? And again, and that's what I was talking about. Let me open this up a little bit. What is the intense feelings of desperation? Well, let's break this down. It says desperation is the feeling that a situation is so bad that no matter what you do, it'll never get better. And desperation is an expert at making us feel like we're in such a bad shape that things cannot be fixed. That's the job that, hey, Cole, how you doing? That's how desperation, we all feel that way when we're desperate. This is not just 1 or 2 people. We all feel out of control when we're in a desperate situation. Cole says, you are on time with this one. I'm telling you, listen, we all have been at this point, a point of desperation, and we have all acted out irrationally because we're so caught off guard with like, oh my God, what should I do? What should I do? But I'm going to get to some things that will help us when we're caught off guard with a desperate situation, how we can center ourselves so we can think rationally and make a rational choice. All right, so it says, what can desperation lead to? Let me go back. Desperation is the feeling that a situation is so bad that no matter what you do, it will never get better. Depression is also an expert at making us feel like we are in such bad shape that we cannot be fixed. Remember, I said earlier that desperation and depression go hand in hand? It does. It goes hand in hand. All right, but don't worry about it, because that don't have to be your forever way of life. That don't ever have to be your forever way of life. Desperation happens to us all, but it doesn't have to be a lifestyle. Okay, so let's move this on. What can desperation lead to? And it says where desperation leads to. All right, let me move this on so we can see this. Let me open this up. What can desperation lead to? Well, okay, Dr. Hawthorne and Dr. Hannon says that it can lead to the immediate accomplishment of any goal. So we can think about it in a positive sense as well as a negative sense. Let me see what Cole is saying. I'm sorry. Okay, so it can eventually lead to a goal being accomplished as well. Though you are not desperate for that goal presently, it can actually teach you some things, and it help you to learn how to, if anything, if a situation like that occurs again, you'll know how to handle it the next time. All right. So desperation can also lead to burnout at times, and if desperation is more of a lifestyle for a person, they're always going to be burnt out, just worn out. Okay, so it can also lead to taking wrong steps, what we talked about earlier, which ends up spoiling or destroying you. Okay, so again, desperation is, we started out with two positive things, and then we talked about two negative things when it comes to desperation. I'm going to reiterate that again. Desperation, number one, it could lead to immediate accomplishment of a goal, whether the goal was something that you plan to accomplish or not. Desperation teaches you. And if you're willing to learn, it teaches you how to overcome whatever that is, that the situation that you're in. Number two, desperation can eventually lead to a goal being accomplished. Being accomplished, though you're not desperate for that goal at that time. All right. So again, that's number two. Desperation leads to accomplishments, good ones. Now we know on the negative side, desperation can also lead to people being burnt out. Again, I'm reiterating this, and it can also be lead to wrong steps. Most people think irrationally when they're desperate, and then also it can destroy a person if they're constantly in a desperate state and constantly making the wrong decisions. So what is the bad side of desperation? Let me move this on. What is the bad side of desperation? Let's open this up. All right. So, but desperation can also have the opposite effect. It can make you feel tired. We know that. Worn out, hopeless, and disoriented. Of course, you're disoriented. You're knocked off of your kilter when something unexpected happens and you are pushed into, like I made the example earlier, if you're traveling somewhere, God forbid, and you lose your cell phone, or your cell phone is stolen, or your wallet is stolen, or your purse is stolen. When you're desperate, it's like, oh Lord, you're so thrown off your kilter to yes. Okay, you just, you can't, you feel tired, you feel overwhelmed, you feel hopeless, you're definitely disoriented. You're most definitely disoriented. Okay, so but that's not how, that's not how the story has to end for you. I look at the glass always half full, not half empty. So let's talk about some good things. This is going to be our takeaway right here. And let me open this up a little bit. And I want to talk about this takeaway because, I'm very serious about resolutions and how we can overcome anything. So number one, it says, let's think about how what can help us recenter ourselves if we ever find ourselves in a desperate state. It says reset. Let's reset the stage. Like for instance, like I said earlier, if you lost your misplaced your cell phone, maybe when you're traveling or something, let's reset the stage. So you're going to write your own script. Each story is told from a particular point of view. So we're either optimistic, like I said, or we're pessimistic. I try my best to be optimistic. Okay. So when anxiety, depression, and fear are prominent in our lives, our story most likely has a pessimistic bent. It's going to start off pessimistic, but there is good news. We get to decide what we think, what we say, and what we do. It's our choice. How we think about it, what we're gonna say about it, and what we're gonna do about it. So the Dr. Hannons and Hathaway, they said when they're depressed, they mentioned about when people are depressed, it is hard to be positive. People may say that there is no doubt that depression and anxiety are challenges to a positive script, which they are. These doctors are recommending two approaches. Number one, talk it out. Talk it out. Have a heart-to-heart talk with your own self. Be fair, be realistic, control your volume, and then lean on the positive. Don't be sitting there talking about, I'm so stupid. Because that's the first thing that people, and that's a hard terminology, but it's realistic. That's the first thing people want to say is, I'm so stupid. Okay, no, you got to rewind that and don't say that. You have to say to yourself, you know what? Come on. I can do this. I can think through this, and I can figure out. Or I can figure a way out of this situation, rather than downing yourself saying, I'm so dumb. I'm so stupid. You have to always counteract that negative thought in your head. All right. So you're going to talk it out. Have a heart-to-heart talk with yourself. Be fair, realistic, control your volume, and lean on the positive. Reinforce the things that you want in your life. Keep telling yourself, I want this, and I'm going to make this happen. You want to feel less pressure to, like, for example, Cole said, control your volume. Hey, personally, Cole, that we do a lot of times when we're angry with ourselves, we're screaming at ourselves in our head. We really are. Control that volume so we can kind of talk to yourself rationally. Talk to yourself more rationally, not screaming. So that is, you have to control the volume in your own head. All right. Okay, so the doctor said, for example, somebody saying to themselves, I want to feel less pressure to keep my house clean. For example, they said they want to be more positive to others. They want to recognize when you're tempted to lean more towards the negative, and then to create a positive viewpoint of the same situation. Now, if you can't talk it out, then write it out. That's number two. Write it out. Okay, this is one thing to talk to yourselves. This is another way to talk to yourselves. So often we do it in our, okay, so while it can be effective, there is real power in physically writing down your thoughts. Now, we have cell phones, we have laptops. Sometimes it's okay to write stuff down. Go into your notes and your cell phone and start writing down your feelings. If you don't have paper and pen, you don't have to do it that way. I like the memo, the voice memo, where you can talk it out to yourself. Talk it out on your record it. Listen to it over and over again. And when you're ready, just go on and delete it. That's another way to do it, writing it out. So this is why journaling is so valuable to many people. Practice writing down ways that you're going to introduce more positivity into your script and into your life. Write down how you're going to handle challenges without drama or fear, and with a sense of calm. Now, here's a bonus tip for everybody. Include God in your script. Y'all know I'm a Christian counselor. And so when I was doing my research and saw Doctors Hannah and Hathaway, and when they ended it with this, include God into your script. Make time to pray or meditate. I'm going to put it that way. Make time to reinforce your values and the ethos that are important to your soul. I want to help my fellow man more. So if that's something that's on your mind, I want to be more reliable, more understanding. I want to be more patient. Write down these challenges, what challenge you from being more of what you want to be. And so where you feel your need to help, seek it from trusted friends, and then seek it from your most trusted source, which is God. Again, y'all know I'm a Christian counselor, so I'm going to throw that in there. If you're a Christian believer, it's okay to talk to God and pray and ask him to show you what you need to do for you, because we are all uniquely created. We're all uniquely made. We're very similar, but we all have our own unique qualities. And the one who created us can show us how to help us and how to help our scenarios. All right. So I'm going to leave y'all with a quote because, right at 30 minutes. All right. Here's a quote that I liked. It says desperation sometimes drives inspiration. And this is by Dara Khosrowshahi. Okay, I messed that up, y'all. Again. So desperation sometimes drives inspiration. Desperation a lot of times drives inspiration. It really does. All right, so let's move this on, and I will see you all tomorrow evening. All right, so let's open this up just a little bit. All right, so I wanted to introduce this. I'm going to start introducing this because everyone, I'm the type of clinician, counselor. You don't have to come to me if you feel the need to talk to a clinician or a licensed therapist or counselor. Here, BetterHelp. This is it's I'm sorry, where am I at? Okay, BetterHelp.com. BetterHelp.com. And it says, so if you want a safe space to speak with a licensed professional online, BetterHelp offers affordable counseling sessions for individuals, couples, and the family. And then this is the website right here, www.betterhelp.com. Again, these are online. These are online sessions. You don't even have to show your face. You know, you can call them anytime. We set your appointment, and it is affordable. You don't have to have health coverage. It's affordable. Going to pay the one time. I think it's like $59 for a session, 45-minute to an hour session. That is awesome. That's awesome. All right. So BetterHelp. All right. My main goal is I know that we can overcome whatever we're going through, and I don't have to be the source. I will willingly point you to other sources so you can live a happy and healthier lifestyle. All right, so this is let me open this up. For those fellow counselors, oh wow, it's hard to see this. I'm sorry. But this is where I got all my studies from this month and for tonight. And so if you want to double check it, my fellow counselors, you can check where I've gotten my studies from on tonight. All right. So if there is a past Counsel of the Day with Shanrae series that you missed, or you just want to rewatch, you can go to my YouTube channel at Shanrae Price. Please like, subscribe, and hit the bell for notifications. Then select any past series that you would like to watch. All right. And I'm going to end this because I'm a professional one-on-one counselor. And if you're interested in professional one-on-one counseling services, feel free to contact me via my Facebook Messenger at Shanrae Owens or via email at shanrae.price@gmail.com. I'm a lifestyle strategist, and my aim is to aid you in your life's goals and your life's dreams. So I will see you tomorrow night for part 2, which now we're going to open up and dissect about lifestyle. Desperation, is it a lifestyle or is it just something that you're experiencing? I'll see you tomorrow night, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for part 2, 30 minutes of Counsel of the Day with Shanrae. All right, y'all have a wonderful evening, and bye-bye.